Welcome to day 7, your final day of the 7-day Move Your Body Challenge, and congrats, you made it this far. And rightfully so, our mantra for today and what we'll be working with throughout practice is that failure is a part of success. And I like to relate this to the practice and the way that we tend to show up to our mats and not show up to our mats, the way that we decide to be hard on ourselves or not, the moment that we fail, and really changing our perspective to see that failure is a part of life. Failure is that moment when we stand up and we decide to brush our shoulders off again, brush our knees off, stand back up, and say, hey, I'm gonna try this again. And that's the moment that we learn, and not a moment sooner than that. And I can say, just personal experience, I have learned so much through failure. And I think that there is opportunity in every failure. So if you are coming back to your mat and you made it again, congrats, you've beat failure for one more time. And we're gonna stay very, very low to the ground in this practice. We're not even going to stand up. So get nice and cozy. And if you decided to press play on this at a part of your day when you're looking for more energy, this is going to be a more restorative practice. So save this one and come back to it either when you first wake up or maybe later in the day when you're ready to start winding down. Otherwise, we'll start in a seat. And you can just start to close down your eyes. Find a tall spine and tap into your breath. Long, slow inhales through your nose, fill up the belly, fill up the chest. And then take an exhale breath out of your mouth. And we'll follow that pattern of breath. So it's 2 sharp inhales through the nose, and then you part your lips and take an exhale out of the mouth. Take an inhale through the nose, fill up. Another sip of air into the chest. Part your lips and let that go. 2 more like that. Sip of air, breathe in. A little higher into the chest. Let go of that breath. 1 more here, big breath in. Fill it up, top it off. Exhale, let it go. Good, and then blink your eyes open. We'll start to just make our way into a tabletop position. So you can roll over your knees and make your way into that tabletop. Take a moment, maybe a few cat-cows, just to kind of warm up the spine, check in. Maybe you shake your hips right or left, separate your shoulder blades. And then we'll find neutral together. Tuck your toes back behind you, press into your palms, and just start to shift back. So bottom is coming towards the heels, but we're not going all the way back into a child's pose, just pressing into the palms, maybe even lifting up your knees. You should feel a nice stretch in those feet. Take an exhale, let that go. Bring it back through your tabletop and then plant your right palm down underneath your nose. Take a breath in, send your left fingertips towards the sky. Open up the chest. Start to roll out your wrist. And then use your exhale breath to come on to left shoulder. Get low. So one of the things that I most commonly see here is just folks cranking in the neck or the neck being very uncomfortable. So find your way here. If you need a little blanket underneath that left shoulder, sometimes can help with the cranking of the neck. And then you can crawl your right fingertips forward. Take your hips to the back of your mat. So you should find a push-pull movement here, creating space in your right side body. And then start to breathe down into your belly. And right away, kind of noticing quality of your breath, seeing if you can make every inhale just a little bit longer. Every exhale just a little bit softer. Nice and slow, start to crawl that right hand back. Press into your right palm, send your left hand towards the sky, unwind. The left hand comes back down and just replaces the right. Take a breath in, send your right fingertips towards the sky. Take a moment to really open up your chest. So think spreading of the collarbones, pressing into left palm. Use your exhale to thread the needle, coming onto right shoulder this time. Crawling left fingertips forward and then sinking your hips back. Good, nice and slow. Start to crawl your left hand back. Press into your left palm. Send your right hand up towards the sky. Exhale, right hand to your mat. And then we'll just turn the fingertips back towards the body, finding a forearm stretch here. Rock a little forward, rock a little back. Maybe side to side a couple of times, or big circles towards the right and then the left. You can turn those wrists back and then start to crawl your way forward. We're going to keep the hips nice and high, coming down into puppy. So hips stay up, tag some weight in the tops of your feet, and then crawl your way forward. Eventually your forearms and forehead comes down. This is a pose that can sometimes bring a lot of sensation into the chest and the armpits. It's kind of an undoing of all the rounding that we do in our day-to-day. So if you're experiencing that, just take it easy. A couple long breaths, maybe massaging your brow bone right and left. Last breath, and then start to crawl your hands back underneath your shoulders. Cross your ankles back behind you and then sit back onto your bottom. We're going to set up for a supported fish. And so for that pose, you will need 2 blocks. One block can do for some folks if you also have a pillow to rest your head on. If you have neither of those things, then I'm going to invite you to soles of the feet together and just walk your way down and kind of let gravity do the work here of opening up the hips. So that's going to be your option if you don't have those blocks. If you're coming with me for supported fish, then find 2 blocks. You'll place one center of your mat long ways, and I like the middle setting here, so tipped up on its side, and then a block down for my head on the lowest setting. And then you have to play around a little bit here. So scoot your butt towards the block so that your tailbone meets that block. And then you start to kind of walk your way down. So nice and slow, your fingertips can guide you down. And you might have to move around that block a little bit before you find that perfect fit for you. So take your time to set it up, really get it right, because it's worth being able to relax into. And when you find that version for you, again, soles of the feet can come together, the knees can go wide, or you can just send your feet out long. Sometimes that can be a lot of pressure in the low back, so I would highly encourage the feet together. Try that one out, and then take your hands to your rib cage. Starting to breathe into that space, intercostal muscles, so the space in between the ribs. And this is one of those poses where we are vulnerable, we're open, we're exposed. And so right away, you might start to notice emotional sensations. And some of the most common can be this feeling of energy gathering at the throat, or that feeling of like having a knot in your throat, like you're gonna cry. And so I would just encourage you to, instead of try to figure out what is that, why am I feeling that, what's going on there, instead just focus on the sensation. Okay, I feel some tightness in my throat, and that feels familiar to me to X, Y, or Z. And maybe just finding a moment to label that emotion or label the sensation. And then use your breath. Nice big exhales out of the mouth can feel really, really good if we have a lot of energy gathering there at the throat. A couple of more soft sighs out. Making a commitment here to softness. I've got about 10 more breaths. A last breath here. Take an inhale through your nose. And then an exhale, part your lips and let that breath go. Use the support of your hands and your lower belly. So engage your core to start to press your way up. Ooh, nice and slow. Super gentle on your spine after that opening. You can just move your blocks aside. And then take a moment for a rebound breath, just letting your spine, your body reset, integrate after that experience. And then we'll come on into a wide-legged seated fold. So you can take both feet out wide. And if you know right away, you're looking at me and you're like, nope, that's not me. Then just stamp your feet down on the mat and bend the knees. Catch opposite wrist here and then tuck your chin to your chest. Start to focus all of your breath into your lower back. That is a great one for sciatica or low back pain. One of my most favorite ways to sit if I have any of that low back pinching or tightness going on. If you're coming in a wide-legged fold, stamp your heels into the mat so toes are pressing towards the sky. We have some activation there, protects the hips. And then find your fingertips, peace fingers here. We're just gonna walk it out. So you can scoot your bottom back just a little bit and then fingertips come out just as far as you can go with the spine nice and straight. So if you're compromising here and rounding down, that's not the type of fold we're looking for tonight. Sometimes it is very nice. So if that's where you're headed, don't let me stop you. But if you're coming with me for more of that activation in the hip flexors, then stay on the fingertips. Stay nice and long. Keep pressing into your heels. Keep lifting in the toes. And we'll stay here for about 5 breaths, so just long enough to let the hip flexors kind of melt in and start to relax. Last breath here, and then we'll start to press our way back up. So fingerprint by fingerprint or finger by finger, walking your way back, sitting back onto your bottom. And then the legs can just come back together. Find yourself in an easy seat. We'll finish right where we started. Take a moment to really find that long spine, and then we'll just take the hands and give yourself a nice big squeeze here. Close down your eyes and see if you can really send some loving touch to yourself just through your fingertips, through your hands. We have all these moments throughout our day when we're brushing our teeth, we're brushing our hair, we're washing our face. We're just generally moving through our day where we can bring in more softness, more compassion, more peace. We'll take one last breath together. Big inhale, breathe in through your nose. Exhale out of your mouth. And then just blinking your eyes open, taking a moment to truly congratulate yourself for showing up. Thank you so much for being here over the last 7 days. And yeah, hopefully this is something that you can come back to again and again when you need a refresh, you need a reset. The journal prompts, the mantras, all of them are great to continue to return to. It's not something that happens overnight, but something that we must practice. We must do again and again. So again, thank yourself for being here, and April and I truly love creating these challenges. Stay tuned for the next one coming up in November. We'll be focused all on gratitude, and you can check in and follow along there at Rooted Renewal Wellness Retreats on Instagram, or follow us here on YouTube, Afternoon Yoga Co., or Yoga with April as well. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next month.